It's starting. All right, now it's live. It says try another way of going live during your broadcast. So talk.
Hello. What's going on?
I don't see nothing.
This is me. Is that you?
Now it says share to group.
Hello, group.
Do you want me to share to group?
Hello, group.
Okay, so and then I hit, when it says the group, I share it to the Red Road Warrior, right?
Yeah.
All right, so it's posting. It's posted.
Hello, group.
Well, you're not there yet. Just hold
I'm
on.
not there.
Now what? It's posted. Now what? Oh, there you are.
Hello, group.
People are watching right now. Wave. Wave. People. It says
Hi.
wave.
Hi. How are you? I hope you got your chili oil on, so it'll be a virtual thing.
Okay, Ralph, I want you to ask him if they hear you good.
Say, can you hear me good?
Yes, I can hear me good.
No, not you. They can hear you.
Oh, how can you hear me good? Well,
What are they saying? I don't
nobody
know.
answers, so you know what? I think you can hear me good. You're just not paying attention.
Oh, there's a thumbs up.
All right, thumbs up.
Does he look okay?
I'm not going to wear any feathers just because you want me
Bring them on. I don't know. I've never done this before. It says wave, so I don't know if you're supposed to wave or they're supposed to wave.
You guys wave at me. I'm starting to get nervous.
Okay, there's a whole lot of people watching. So, are we going to keep doing this for a half an hour, or do we just, or what?
Yeah, just stay on there.
Okay, well, let me just get, I got to get a little more comfortable if I'm going to be here for an hour. Because I don't, I don't have a, hold on a second. Oh, that's the outdoors. That's our yard. Marlon says, hi, Ralph.
Hi. How you doing, Marlon?
All right, so let me just see what this looks like. I have to look through the dish drainer.
She's checking it out.
Wait, where are you, Ralph?
I'm right here. I haven't gone anywhere.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
This should work.
You can set it up so you don't have to actually fold it all.
I-
That's beautiful. Nice and green.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful?
You should probably turn that light on.
Oh, is that
Hey,
better?
There I am.
All right. Well, I can. Let me see. Oh, the light behind you is silly. So, yes, that's the pond outside where the little duckies live. Dang, it's green out there. She says, yes, it's beautiful. And the duckies have gone home to sleep. And we have, all right, so,
Yeah, but
do you need glasses to speak?
No, I don't need. Well, just in case. I want to look astute.
Oh, good. Okay, though. Oh, wait. Here, you just hold that there for a minute. Just hold that there. I have an idea.
Oh, goody. She's got an idea. Oh, we got the music stand.
Lane would be happy. I have a plan. Huh? Okay.
You just don't know.
Hold on. Say that again.
Are you on the same phone?
I'm on my phone my phone, and I have my phone plugged in because Ralph's phone is.
You're talking on my phone.
You're talking on his phone, and his phone is pretty much worthless. All right, now. So is that better?
No, he's only see half of them.
The upper half or the lower half? What about like this? The other was better?
Right there, he said.
That's good? Okay, because I have you on a music stand and I can't see what it looks like because the phone is up against black. But hold on, let me just tape it there so it doesn't move. And you can hear him talk, Ralph, so that you may just say, hi, my name's Ralph.
No, I ain't gonna say all that. Hey, what you doing over there? What are you doing over there?
Can you hear him?
What happens? Do I just disappear?
What are you seeing exactly?
I think it's pointed up.
The camera things on here are really weird. So does this make it better? Does that make it better? That? What about that?
He's not talking.
Wait. I have a. There must be something we have that.
There's somebody else talking to him.
I'm looking for something that's clear. That's like. Can you see him right now? What about that?
Bring it down.
What about that? And does this make it better? What are you seeing now? Okay, just like that? And you can hear him just fine? Shall we get this shirt out of the way so that... I just don't want it hanging over your head.
Somebody's trying to call me.
Well, too bad.
Well, look at it. See who it is.
218-214-6192. Okay. Hello. Hi,
Ralph.
Jesse. Here's Ralph.
How you doing?
Everything I do is on the Red Bull Warrior page is that me and Marlon, we share that website, and one of the things that we do is we invite people in and share their journey, their story of what it was like and what it's like now.
Yeah.
And one of the things was that some people have been having issues trying to do their talk with the webcam and stuff, but it's hard. They got to configure it with the Facebook page, but if anything, if you have a smartphone, that would be a lot easier.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, we have...
Let me tell. So Jesse, we signed on. I used Marlon's page, and I went to your page, the Red Warrior page, and it's all set up. And if you go there right now, you'll see that he's the live feed on that page right now. Yes.
How you doing? I don't see you, but you see me.
And And I have the phone is taped up to a music stand, so I have no idea what it looks like because the face of the phone is against a black background, so I hope he looks good. And whatever people are writing, we can't see nothing. All he's going to do is just talk for an hour, and he won't know what anybody's saying or doing. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. You know, even after you spoke to see what everybody says, just kind of introduce yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Let them know who you are, and then, you know, just whenever you're ready to share your story, you're good to go anytime.
Okay. Well, everybody thinks it's at 5, right?
But well, actually, it'd be 7 o'clock here, but it'd be 5 there, right?
Right.
So it's just it's probably about, what time is it right now? I unplugged the coffee maker. Say that again?
6:49.
So 11 minutes.
In 11 minutes.
So you could sing him a song, you know, if you want to drum, you could drum something.
No drum. No singing. I like the Red Warrior outfit though. I like that. Red Road. Okay, so yeah, this is basic AA talk, and I can say anything I want, right? Because you can't stop me. If I say something good about NA, because you know a lot of us, you know, we're not all juicers. There's a lot of dopers out there too, you know. So, and I might be one of those.
It's fine, you know. It's like all recovery.
Yes, absolutely. Al-Anon, AA. I mean, I've done everything except for get pregnant.
That don't happen.
I sure do hope that don't happen.
You're a little old for that.
I
huh?
know, yeah, a little old for all that, but still, you know, I haven't tried some things. Okay, so in 10 minutes we're on the air. Okay.
Online, we're gonna come back and try to do it again, or
You're just going to stay.
I think we'll just leave it right where it's at, and we'll start at 5 o'clock, and I'll just say who I am. And it has to be an hour.
It don't matter, you know, however long your story goes. I mean, like, we say a limited hour, but
Don't go any longer.
All right.
bad thing to tell you that, you know, might go a couple hours, 2 hours, 3, you know.
Yeah. That's what I brought this guy who was 88 years old into the program, and he said he loved it. You know, he loved AA. And then I brought him to this old folks home where they were having a meeting, and I dropped him off because they were all really old. And he was 88, and he came when I came to pick him up. He said, "Don't ever bring me back here again. That guy started in 1929, and I had to quit listening at 1918. No more of that." All those old timers. So, okay, I'm gonna hang up now, and in 8 minutes I'll be on the air.
Okay, looking forward to hearing your story.
All right. Talk to you later.
Wait.
Oi. Docha and the rest of that. 8 minutes.
All right. So we'll just leave your phone on just in case.
All right.
You probably might go dead at some point. What
Okay.
I'm going to do is I'm going to turn your
Oh yeah, Indian market.
I probably could get rid of this umbrella. It's not
No, it's
aesthetically.
fine.
It's not aesthetically pleasing.
It's fine. I'm gonna let them know.
I'm going to put it right here.
I'm gonna let them all know.
that
We're on the
trying-
res. We're on the res, and we are in the trailer.
And people are like saying all kind of things, but we can't see because.
That's all right. You can say whatever you want. We're on the res, and I'm not starting my story yet. And it's really not a story. It's a tragic life. Holy moly! Oh, I have people cry around. Nah.
Okay. They probably would then. All right. Oh, did you want,
audience. I need an audience. All right. Oh yeah. I probably should have something to drink.
I'll make some coffee.
No, I don't want no coffee. Just a little.
Cold or
Yeah.
room temperature? All right. You want water?
Room temperature.
Water? Okay. Room temperature.
Yeah.
Oh, this is really good. Black cherry. Really yummy. Sound of opening cans.
Yeah. That's Al-Anon. We got what? 6 more minutes? 7? I would sing you guys a song, but I would forget the words in the middle and it would be embarrassing. But I love the name Red Road. You know, that Scarlet Road, the Milky Way. You know, that we all dance. This is going to be really difficult for me because I don't know who I'm lying to. I practice out there and, next to the pond. I don't know. She showed some people the pond. There's some ducks that live out there, and they listen to me every day. I give them bread, and they listen to me talk about, you know, being a sober alcoholic, which is oxymoron. But I tell them my story. And they promise not to, you know, tell anybody else. But I'm gonna tell you, and you could repeat anything that I say. Everything that I say is all been said before. And I remembered the guys that were there for me. And you know, I've got 37 years of sobriety, but I've been coming to AA for 40 years, and those guys were telling me the truth for those 3 years that I was mostly drunk. But I remember what they said. And I'm going to say a lot of that stuff because that's what saved my ass. So that's going to be my story all about that. Those guys that helped me through thick and thin. Now, I'm going to wait till 5 o'clock. I'm going to shut up now. You watch me drink my little beverage. Ice Mountain. My wife must be worried she's me down. Where's my phone?
It wasn't the buzzer.
My name is Ralph. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm here on the Lummi Reservation. I'm staying with my brother Felix right now, and he's a sober alcoholic, and I'm a sober alcoholic, and come to here to do some work with my brother, and we're artists, and we work together. And we got stuck here because of this pandemic that's going on. And Marlon asked me to speak about my recovery, and what it was, what happened, and what it's like now. And it's a difficult thing, when you do something for the first time. And this is the first time I'm doing this kind of thing without having my brothers and sisters in front of me, speaking to people about, this recovery. And this is one of the most important things of my life. It used to be the opposite way around, that this was not something I wanted. I came to Alcoholics Anonymous in 1979. I had a friend, Jack. He came over to the house, and we were drinking, and we got pretty drunk. And he took off in his truck, and just about 2 blocks from the house, he hit some turtles that were in the road. Not turtles, but the barrier turtles that were in the road, and the truck turned over. And so anyway, the cops came and took him away. He went to court, and the judge gave him ultimatum that he would go to 6 meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous, and he would cut him some slack. So he called me up after he went to court and said, "Ralph, would you go with me?" And I said, "Sure, I'll go with you." I didn't know what it was. I didn't, it didn't matter to me. He was my buddy, and I was going to help him out. And the first meeting was in Linwood, Washington. It was at a guy's apartment. His name was Louis. I'll never forget. I don't know why, but I'll never forget that. His name was Louis, and it was his apartment. But he had it set up in a way that people could come in and have a meeting 2 or 3 times a week. And, that's just how dedicated he was to sobriety. But I went in there with Jack, and I sat through that, and I don't remember much about what was said or anything like that. And then that was on a Tuesday. And on Thursday, he said, I'm going to go to this one on Thursday. It's in Mount Lake Terrace. And I said, okay, that Mount Lake Terrace, Washington. And I said, okay, I'll go with you. And when we pulled into the parking lot, it was the police department. It was the Mount Lake Terrace Police Department. Anyway, they had an AA meeting right off to the one of the offices there, and I had been in their holding cell, and I thought, this is too much, And I went to the meeting with them, but after the meeting, I told them, Jack, you're on your own. I'm never going to go to that. If you're going to go to the police department and meetings and things like that, I'm not going to do that. You go ahead. But that was the beginning. And, I don't think if it wasn't for that, I would ever have any desire or knowledge to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I always remember that Louis guy, that his dedication and wanting other people to be sober, and opening up his apartment, his house, for that to happen. And I remember reading when they read how it works and they read the traditions, but I remember how it works the most. You know, I was thinking about all that stuff. At the time, I was a non-believer in anything. And we're just, you know, we're just here. You know, we're just here. We're just human beings, and we're here. And all that stuff about God and the rest of that, you know, just didn't matter to me. But and that kind of bothered me, you know. But all the rest of it, you know, I wanted to be a good person and the rest of that. But all the things that were in the 12 steps, you know, I kind of agreed with all that. That was pretty cool. And you know, it wasn't until later in 79, in 80, and 81, I just went through all kinds of stuff, you know, trying to quit drinking on my own. I tried all these different things. I tried all the stuff that you read in the big book, you know, drinking only after 5, changing different kinds of drinks. Instead of drinking whiskey, I was drinking wine. And I even tried beer, and I just couldn't stomach that. But anyway, you know, for years, I tried all these things, and then I decided, I remembered the AA thing, and so I started going to these different meetings. You know, I called up the number in Everett. You know, it's a very easy number. It's 252. 5252, and you know, I called up that number and I asked about meetings, and they said, yeah, there's meetings over here, there's meetings over, you know, and I picked other ones that were close enough to the house, and I started going. But you know, I always make a joke about it, but you know, I wanted to go to the meetings, but I just didn't want to quit drinking. I didn't know that was part of the whole program. I thought I was going to learn how to drink, you know, without getting in trouble and causing so much havoc. Anyway, I started going to these meetings, and I'd sit there. Sometimes I'd go and I'd be just completely drunk. I didn't bother nobody. Nobody ever called on me, or so, you know, nothing ever really happened with that. But I would go to the meetings and I would just sit there, listen, go get drunk afterwards, and, you know. And then it would, you know, my alcoholism was kicking in full bore, and I was staying drunk longer, you know. I drank for many, many years, and with complete abandon. And you know, when this trying to not drink, and you know, I thought, wow, you know, I'm going to try it. I'm going to really try it. I think it was in 1981. I said, I'm going to really do this. I'm going to quit drinking, and I'm going to go to meetings, and I'm going to read this book. They gave me a big book, and 12 by 12. I'm going to read these books, and I'm going to try doing those steps. I'm going to try this stuff. I didn't get a sponsor. I had a bunch of guys that I talked to, but not really getting a sponsor, not really getting advice on how to do it, but just what I heard in the meetings, you know. And so anyway, there came a time when I decided that I would do all that, and I did. And that was the most excruciating time of my life. As soon as I decided that I wasn't going to drink, I got a committee. You know, I didn't have a committee before that. I mean, you know, I just drank. I would go out and drink. I'd do dope. I'd do whatever I wanted to do. And just, I called it whooping to do. And I would run around all over Everett and Seattle and in different places. Everywhere I went, I drank, you know, whether it was Bellingham or up in Snohomish or wherever it was, I drank. I used dope, I drank. Didn't matter. But here, I decided I'm going to do this. I'm getting serious about this. And I get this committee. And you know, when you make a decision without any of the things that Alcoholics Anonymous offers you, without those tools, you make this decision. You know, it's real great. But if you don't have the help of the fellowship of the people, it's really a difficult thing. It was for me. And I am talking about me. I'm not saying that you have to do it my way or anything like that. I'm just telling you about what happened to me. This thing, it just kicked my butt. And so, you know, I decided that this was a little bit too much. I was coming on to 9 months of this, and it was excruciating. Oh my God, it was excruciating. And one morning I was going in to work. I had to go in early, and I remember waking up, and it was like, man, there was voices in my head, the committee. But these two particular voices, one was kind of mamby-pamby, you know. Oh, yeah. And the other one was, come on, let's go, you know. You know, with this, you're screwing around with this, we're just wasting time. Let's get out of here, let's go whoop-de-doo. And the other one to say, you know, that's not right. You shouldn't do stuff like that. You ought to just keep on with the right path, and you're going good. Let's just keep on doing what you're doing, and nah, you know. Anyway, I went into work, and the material that I had ordered for the job didn't arrive, and you know, it was kind of, I don't know. It seemed like it was a setup, you know, that, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go out and I'm going to get drunk, and I wound up drinking, and yeah, that was in 1981. And I drank for a while and back and forth, and, you know, trying to not drink. I'd go to meetings and all the rest of that, and I would, you know, just on and on and on. And finally, I decided this one morning I was sitting on the edge of a bathtub in my house, and you know, my family at the time had, my wife took the kids and left, and I had this great big house, and I was there all by myself, and I'm sitting on the edge of the bathtub, and the voices were happening. One was like a little cherub-like thing was sitting over here, and one over here, and there was those two stupid with a mamby-pamby one on this side, and the guy wanting to whoop-de-doo on this side, so, you know, and they were arguing back and forth. And I'm in the middle of their thing, oh yeah, you know. But I wound up leaving and drinking. And I went, it was in August of '82. And I wound up, you know, I went on a real wild run. I mean, I had enough dope and enough money and enough just to do whatever I wanted, and I did. I just God, it was horrible. It was a fun, horrible time. I think most alcoholics know exactly what I mean. I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, but what I really wanted to do was not be getting drunk, not be losing my family, not be doing all the rotten things that I was doing. You know, I didn't want to do all that stuff, but I did. You know, and you know, it's that weird thing of I don't want to do that, but I want to do that. And anyway, it winds up this last drunk I went on. That was the last drunk I was on, and it was crazy. It was really, really crazy. I remember sitting down in the tavern, it was, I'm not going to say his name. I was down at this tavern, and there's a Washington State liquor store right here, and there's a parking lot right here, and the bar's right here. So I parked my car between the liquor store and the bar, and I would go over to the liquor store and get a bottle of whiskey, and I'd sit in my back seat of my car drinking that bottle of whiskey, and then I would go into the bar and play pool and all the rest of this. But I was really, really, really drunk. And I remember sitting there, and I was talking to my bartenderess, and we knew each other, and I was there all the time, so we were very familiar with one another. And I had this coin, this beautiful silver coin, and I remember giving it to her and saying, I might not ever see you again. And I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I just did. But I was sitting on that bar stool in the middle of the bar, right in the middle. And I remember hearing this. Always chokes me up. Now, I must say his name. He was in one of the meetings that I would go to. I was a regular at that meeting. His name was Bennet. And he used to say, when they call on him, he would say, you never have to suffer from drunkenness again, ever. And he would say, I tried drunk and I tried sober, and I like sober best. And he would wave his arm, come along with us, and we'll grow well together. I couldn't even talk, but his voice was in the back of my head, and it was clear. I didn't quit right there. I went into some blackout drinking, and I think it was on a Sunday night, and I hear this, I'm blacked out, and I'm starting to come to, and I hear this noise. It's an air conditioner, and I'm really uncomfortable, and I hear this noise, and I smell the smell, and I know I'm in jail. And I'm coming to, before I open my eyes, I know that I'm in jail. And it smelled like the county jail. And I said, and they had this air conditioning going in there, and I was in a padded cell with a thing in the center that went down into the floor, that they chained me to the floor with my handcuffs in the back of me. And I was laying there, and I hear the door open. It's a steel door, and they have this little thing that they open up to pass in food or whatever, and it's a solid steel door. And there was this guy, I knew him, he was a jailer, and I knew him socially. And but he looks in there, and he said, Ralph, what are you doing here? And I said, I don't know. And he said, I'll be right back. And he went and he got the key, and came into the thing, got me off of the thing, and while he was gone, he had called my bail bondman. He knew that I had a bail bondman. His name, well, I'm not even going to say his name. Anyway, I almost had him on retainer. It was really crazy, and he said, man, you've been busy. And anyway, I had been arrested 3 times in this blackout, and in Everett, Washington, and I was bailed on all 3 times, and one they just let me go, and they impounded my car. Because it was a DWI involved in that. And then there was a menacing charge where I was drunk and I was causing a commotion at a business, and then another one where I was causing hell at one of the dive bars that I frequented. Anyway, I had 3 different arrests, and I didn't know it. I hadn't known anything about it. And I was in a blackout, and I was just, man, this is really sad, you know. And Frenchie came, the Bales bombing came and got me out, and it was about 11 o'clock at night, and I had my car impounded, so I had no way of going anywhere. So I just went down the hill from the county jail. There's a little dive bar that I drank with cowboys and Indians drank there, and I went in there and I proceeded to drink some more, and then I ordered, it was about closing time, and I ordered a half rack of beer, and I had the bartender call me a cab, and I took the cab. When the cab got there, gave him the address and stuff, and went to the house, and you know, my wife had left with the kids, and I had this big old house, and I was just there. And I woke up, and I was sleeping on the couch, and I had the half rack was my pillow. I don't know how this, you know, and it was 33 years old, so I guess that didn't bother me too much. But I hadn't even opened the half rack, and I remember waking up, coming to, and realizing, man, what have I done? And look at my life, and geez, you know, I decided, you know, right then and there, I decided, you know, look, I've tried AA, and I did this one thing a long time before this. So I tried this thing called Applied Principles on Alcoholism Recovery. And I tried not drinking, like all the things that are in the big book, you know, only drinking after a certain time and all this crap. Anyway, none of it worked. And I even did a weird thing. A friend of mine got sober. He went down to this church, and it was some kind of Pentecostal church, right, where they bashed him upside the head. You know, he accepted something. I ain't gonna go into it too much further than that. You can kind of get the gist of where I'm going. And he quit drinking. He quit using dope, him and his wife both. And they were both like pristine and all the rest of this stuff, you know, and I thought, man, I'm gonna try that. So I went to that church. I went forward at the same time, you know, he was saying that this is what you do. You go forward and you do all the stuff they tell you to do, and, you know, voila. And yeah, it wasn't no voila. It was a joke. Yeah, it was a joke. But it's part of my journey. It didn't work any better than anything else. And so I'm here at this place, right? In my, you know, just waking up and you know, alone in a big house, and you know, I had gone through this. I say, oh man, I tried religion. I tried AA. I tried not doing this. I tried all these different things. I can't do this anymore. There's just no answer. There's just no answer. I can't do this anymore. So my brilliant mind came to the conclusion that I needed to die. That's the only way this is going to work. I'm never going to drink again. And so I formulated a plan in my head because, you know, they impounded my car. I was going to take the bus down to this bridge. It's a famous bridge in Seattle. You know, I just go down to and take the bus down Aurora to the Aurora Bridge and jump off. And I'm afraid of heights, you know. It's like, that's stupid. If you're afraid of heights, you're gonna go jump off a bridge. And, you know, I don't know if I really intended that, but I remember I started out telling you I didn't believe much about this higher power or God or any of this stuff, you know, Wakantung or Tankashala or Creator. I didn't believe much in that. And, but I knew, somebody had told me someplace, somewhere, that, you know, God would be really, really mad if you kill yourself. And, you know, I thought, well, okay, I'm going to say a prayer, right? So I moved that half rack over and I'm on the couch, and I put my elbows on the top of that half rack, and I'm saying a prayer, and I'm telling God all the stuff that practically all that stuff I'm telling you. And look, I've tried all this stuff and none of this stuff works. And, you know, it's like, I can't live this way anymore. I can't do this. I just got, you know, I'm coming. And don't be pissed at me, you know. And so I said what I now refer to as the magic word. I said, but if you want it, you can have the rest of my life. But I refuse to ever drink again. I refuse to suffer from drunkenness. And I got up, I started something happened. I don't know. It's hard to describe or put into words. Just something happened. Something profound happened. And it was like not like a burning bush or not like a bolt of lightning. Just something happened. And I heard a voice. It was loud. It was audible. A voice said, "That's enough now." I did. I looked around the house, seeing who was trying to sneak up on me. I don't know exactly what happened, but something happened, something profound. I called up, was my boss. And I told him, I said, you know, and I told him the truth. So all those times that I would call you on Monday or Friday and say that I couldn't make it in because I had tonsillitis or whatever, I was lying. I was out drinking. And he got real excited on the phone and he said, could I come in? Could I come and talk to him? And anyway, you know, like I said, my car was impounded. So I called up a cab and I went up to the work, and he had a file, a small file thing right next to his desk. And he pulls out the file and there's one of those manila things with my name on it. And he opens it up and there's one thing in there. And this is, you know, like part of my story that's really important. There was a pamphlet in there. That's the only thing that was in that folder. My file folder was a pamphlet, and it was called The Merry-Go-Round of Denial. It was an Al-Anon pamphlet that described alcoholism, that described me. He asked me if I would read it. And we sat there, and it was like, took me about 15, 20 minutes, you know, because I was, I was pretty sick. And that, on the back of that was a address of a treatment center in Monroe, Washington. And I have a phone number. He asked me if I would dial it and just, you know, check myself in if I could. Anyway, I did. And I called it right there. And they said, you know, we're sorry. They called me Mr. Bennet. Mr. Bennet, we're sorry. We got no beds available. We're filled up for 30 days. We're just filled up. And I thought, you know, oh my God, this is a reprieve. I got a reprieve. 30 days, you know. I wanted to not drink, but I wanted to drink. I wanted to do dope. I wanted to do it all. You know, and I just went through all that stuff with the prayer and all that. And, you know, I thought, oh man, this is crazy. So I took a cab back home. And I told them, you know, I gotta go, and, you know, they don't have a bed for 30 days. I'll be back to work tomorrow. And so anyway, I took a cab home, and my phone was ringing. This is before the cell phone. I had a cell phone, and it was in 1982. And so anyway, my phone is ringing as I'm going in the door, and I go and answer it, and it's the damned treatment center. A bed just opened up. If I get my button there, they would accept me in there. And you know, so I said, you know, I don't know how this happened, but I said, yes, okay, I'll be there. And so anyway, I called my wife, and I said, you know, could you do me this favor? I need a favor. I need to be brought in. I don't have a way to go in. I'm gonna go into treatment. And of course she said, yeah. And but man, that was the most excruciating ride of my life. It was so tough. It was like everything, you know, like what they say about you when you die, your life passes before you. Well, when your alcoholism is dying, your whole bars are passing by you, and drinks and dope and women and doing all the whooping to do stuff is passing by you, you know, as you're going down the road. And it's like, man, I was suffering. I finally get there, and I get signed in. And they give me this books, man. And this treatment center was like going to college. You know, I had a stack of books, and I'm walking down to the dorm, to the place that was a dorm at the time. It was called Solberg Hall. And anyway, I'm sitting there on this bunk. My wife is sitting across from me, and I'm sitting there on this bunk thinking, what the hell have I done? What am I doing? You know, it's like all these books, the big book, the 12 by 12, Living Sober, and all these Hazelton books, you know, the red book, the black book, and all these Hazelton books on how to do this right. And I'm thinking to myself, this is bullshit. I'm getting out of here. All this is going on in my head, right? And I'm just about ready to stand up and get out of there. And I look over to the door of the place. The dorm had a door going into it. And anyway, there's this big Indian man. I mean, to me, I was sitting there on the bunk, and he looked like just a big warrior Indian man, you know, Native American, you know. And I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and he looks at me, and he says, "You're not Randy?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, no, I'm Ralph." And he said the magic word, "But you'll do. I am your temporary sponsor. I'll help you to understand, you know, some of the things that you need to do before you get out of here, home groups and things like that. And his name was Leroy. His wife's name was Mary. I got to meet them later, you know, later on after he got out, because he helped me with everything. And you know, right then and there, all that stuff about leaving left my brain. You know, I wanted to stay there, but about 2 weeks into this, in this treatment center, I'm in there's a group discussion, right? There's a group, you're part of a group, and anyway, I'm sitting in the group, and the people are talking around me, and a big old light bulb went off over my head, you know, like, oh my God, these people aren't talking about drinking. That drinking isn't the problem. That I was the problem. Ooh, that pissed me off. That made me so mad. Oh, I've never been so angry in my whole life. I was so mad I could do something about drinking. I thought I could quit drinking, but I couldn't do a damn thing about me. I've never been able to. And I was gonna leave. I was so pissed. I just got up out of the chair and I pushed it back and didn't say nothing. I just walked out of that, stomped out of that room. I stomped down the stairs. I stomped down the hallway. I was heading out, and this lady, well, she was a very young lady. Said, Ralph, what's going on? You know, and I said, well, I'm out of here and all this shit. You know, she got written all over me, right? I had it with this place, and anyway, she said, yeah, just take a minute. We're just right by this little chapel room, right? It's about as big as a small bathroom, and I had a big old Bible and sitting in there. And she goes, let me just read you something. And anyway, she read this stuff out of Corinthians about love and stuff like that, you know, and chastity and all this stuff. And I don't know what it was about that reading. It just kind of calmed me down, and you know, I made a decision, you know, to stay and just, you know, learn as much as I could, and I did. And I remember getting out of that place, you know. I wasn't really sure it was going to work. I was scared. I remember the fear, you know. Alcohol had always been the winner in my life. Drugs had always been the winner. I used to go back and forth between drugs and alcohol. I don't anymore. I share my Alcoholics Anonymous program with Narcotics Anonymous. They work hand in hand. You know, drunks don't know a lot about dope. And dopers don't know a lot about drinking, you know, but they go hand in hand. They're the same thing, but you treat them differently. And that's what I do. That's the way I do it. You don't have to do it that way, but that's what I do. I go to Narcotics Anonymous and I follow that fellowship guideline. I go to Alcoholics Anonymous and I follow that fellowship guideline to the best of my ability. And I do not make it all the time. I am a fucking all the time failure. But I wind up on the right place as long as I can stay sober and I don't pick up a drink and I don't pick up a drug. I can make it through anything. Alcoholics Anonymous has taught me a new way of life. Narcotics Anonymous has taught me a new way to life, a new way of life. Now, I don't always follow it, but I have a program of recovery. I have Big Book. I have a basic text. I have the 12 by 12 that teaches me how to do those steps and even why. And I don't believe everything that's in that 12 by 12. I don't want to become part of mainstream. I never have. I like it being a little bent. But this is it. This is the way it is for me. You know, Leroy has passed on. Ben Edwards has passed on. A lot of those mentors of mine that were in those meetings when I wasn't willing to quit drinking to have sobriety. All the things that they said were very important. They're as important today as they were then. I heard them. They spoke from the heart to my heart, and that never left my heart. And today I get peace. It's not always peaceful, but I get peace. I get to participate. I get to participate in a program of recovery. I don't sit around and say my little prayers or go to Sundance and say my prayers. I put my foot in front of one another and I make the effort. Without participation, there is no recovery. Without my participation, I cannot be in recovery. I have to participate. And that's the same for you. But you don't have to do it alone, just like I didn't. Just like Leroy was there. I could see his smiling face. You know, he's gone. He's been gone for a while. And I remember the last time we saw him. We were getting out of the car. I don't remember exactly where we were coming from, either our home in North Dakota or one in California, or wherever we were. And we ran into Leroy. That was the last time we saw him. It was just shortly before he passed. But he was sad and he was hurting, but he broke into that great big smile when he looked at us. I owe my sobriety to him and to all those fellows. Bud, I owe my sobriety to him. Bill B, I owe my sobriety to him. Jesse P, I owe my sobriety to him. That guy Louie that I never got to see again, I owe my sobriety to him. And I owe my sobriety to you. My tears are tears of happiness. I shared them with you. Because the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, nothing else, has given me a way of life where for the last lot of years I've got to participate with people in Sundance and different Sundances. I got to be a helper in different Sundances. I got to be a Sundancer. I am a Sundancer. Those are important things to me. But they are not as important as my program of recovery, Alcoholics Anonymous, the 12 steps, 12 traditions, just the way they're written. No other thing. And my prayer is for you. And I would like you to pray with me right now. I want you to pray with me right now. I want you to pray, and I would like to hear your prayers for my brother Felix. He needs your prayers right now. He is suffering. And I want to share his suffering with you. And I want you to be praying with me right now. Wakantanka Tankashila, Creator God, we thank you so much for this time that we get to share together. And I would like to thank you so much for my brother Felix, and that his suffering will not be in vain. That he joins with me and prays for everybody listening to this podcast, all of the people that you're connected to, that you and I can wave at them and say, come along with us, and we can get well together. Oh, thank you.
So they're talking to you now. Yeah, no, it's like 50 minutes. Great. So they're still looking at you. They can still see you, but they're still there. There's still these people are watching. So you could just look at them for a while because they're all talking to you. You could say something back or whatever.
Oh.
Right now, you want to have. You need to. The picture is not on the yours. It's just on the music stand. Because you can't do selfies, so you can just see what people are saying. I
Yeah.
can respond back.
Thank you for your prayers. Thank you so much for your prayers.
I don't know how to.
Thank you.
I don't know how to do that.
Wow. Thank you, Robert. Dave, Kathy.
Hello. Hey. Yeah,
Wow.
and he's just like looking at comments and talking back to them. I don't know how any of that works, but I guess that's working for him right now. Yeah, because I don't know how to do any of the buttons, but people are saying things and he's just reading them and then just responding back while the camera's looking at the music stand.
They should look at the ducks. Yeah. This is the res. This air, that is the pond that we keep our mermaid in. Keep the ducks happy. It's actually the pond on Solomon.
You always know what it is that he needs. You do.
That's a screen door.
You know, and when you
And that's a beautiful cedar tree.
to,
And we got piles of mud.
and I don't get it, did it, which is hard. And he was able to, it made a big change. You know, there's people all over yours anyway. So thank you. Yeah, we'll see. Right now we don't know what, we really don't know what tomorrow will bring, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. It was good. I will have him, when he's done, like, listening to, reading his thingies, I'll have him give you a call, okay? All right, sweetie. Like, so he said it was great. Yes, there's all kinds of people.
Wow. There's lots and lots of people.
Yeah. But you can, you know, if you could just stop being live now if you want.
Oh, finish?
So I think think you do. Yeah.